Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy, joined by a full panel tonight. Got my man, fellow founder. Welcome to this is going to be season four. So our first episode of season four. So we're going into our fourth year. We appreciate all y'all for joining along on this long up and down journey. It's been a great time, man. I've had a good time and learned a lot. But anyways, joined by Sean Rigsby, my man, Uncle Joey in the corner. As always, Matt Lemaster in the bottom. Shelly said he could come out and hang out tonight. Glad to have you. Uh, Now, this is the second time we've had Mr. Beam on. Well, we tried to have him on before. We had some Sean difficulties, and
They
uh,
were,
and so we're here now, and we're honored and grateful that you took the time out of your hectic schedule to come back and hang out with the Still Talking Boys tonight, Steve. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate having you.
oh,
Yeah,
no, it's great to be here. So glad to be back, and hopefully we can do it again down the road. So,
absolutely.
If you don't know who the guest is tonight, you might live under a rock, man. We got Mr. Stephen Beam from Limestone Branch Distillery in Lebanon, Kentucky. If you don't know Mr. Beam, if you don't know the name, I don't have to say anymore. You know what it is. But we're here to listen to him talk about himself and why he loves doing what he does. We usually start the show out. If anybody's drinking on something, you feel free to bring it up. We know Sean's got them Bush Light apples. He's got to go and work late again tomorrow, so he's just doing his thing.
No, I'll be on time tomorrow.
Okay. He had a late Monday, so Uncle Joe, anything special over there?
Yeah, I always like to try. If we're having a guest on, I at least like to try what they're drinking. And I've had this bottle for a little while, and it's a solid drinker, man. It really is. It's under $40. To me, for the price, you can't beat it, man. It's the Yellowstone Select. It's a 93 proof. It's just a really good bottle, man. It really, really is.
Hey, where'd you pick that up at?
I got it here in Springfield. I think I
Nice.
got it at
Local.
Wineworks. So
Nice.
so my thing when we finally scheduled Mr. Beam on, I was talking to my wife about it, and I said, what's really cool about having him on, there's a bottle of Yellowstone in probably every liquor store across the United States. So I feel honored that you're on, our podcast tonight, and we get to talk to you because, I mean, this stuff's everywhere. If you don't know what this is, you don't drink bourbon. You know what I mean? Or if you drink bourbon, you've seen this. I mean, it's everywhere.
right. Yeah, we're fortunate there.
Yeah.
That we've been. That was with our partnership with Luxco and being able to utilize their sales force and everything around the country, and so it's been a great journey. We started out with a little distillery down in Lebanon, Kentucky, and we just started, my brother and I, and really didn't have any great plans other than we wanted to make bourbon and bring back one of our old family brands, which Yellowstone was one of the old family brands. And so we started out, very small. I tell people, people don't realize, but back in 2008, when I first started putting this all together, there wasn't a big craft distillery movement. There were just a few craft distilleries. American Distilling Institute is who brought us all together. Actually, at that time, Bill Owens, and he was kind of Pied Piper and led the group. But we had a lot of us had to build our own equipment because the people didn't manufacture things for smaller distilleries.
There wasn't 30 guys that could build you a 100-gallon still like there is now.
No,
Like that. Like off the top of your head, you can name 10 guys that'll whip you up 100, 300-gallon still in a couple months and be like, here you go. So things have changed a lot.
if there were, they were laying low.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they were out there.
Oh yeah, they were out there. They're always out there. So.
But that's really thinking about that. My distilling roots, although I have my family, my grandfather's notes, but he had passed away long before I, when I was very young, actually. And my father had gotten out of the business relatively, a long time ago as well. So, I didn't have that family connection other than just kind of notes. And so that's kind of like having your grandmother's recipe for a cake. I mean, you have the recipe, but you need that finesse to make that cake like it's supposed to be.
No different than watching a how-to video. You know what I'm saying? Like you see it and you watch somebody do it, but you have to do it. You know what I'm saying? There's no duplicating it. They can show you the way, but you have to put in that work.
Right.
Figure it out.
I did. I read every book and visited small distilleries and did the time, and then had a lot of people. Sherman Owen was one, and several people though that helped who family had been moonshiners, and so my roots actually come out of the moonshining people. Alan Bishop, Alan. But because the distillery engineers, especially at that time, had no concept of that. Well, they just didn't relate to 200-gallon mashes or 100-gallon mash or even a 500-gallon mash, because they were used to 20,000-30,000-gallon mashes. And so, but the the moonshiners, that was right in their sweet spot.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I do a lot of what I did early on and still do, but from the moonshiners, and I like that too, because I think it's very in touch with what's going on, very tactile and very I don't know, it's just very real. It's not a bunch of scientists in a lab.
Right. Yeah. Well, I find us moonshiners innovative. Like we're not afraid to try new things that are just so out of the ballpark a distillery could never even fathom just trying it. Because it's because they could never get something like that legal, because we're able to use whatever we want, but it opens up ideas and for the bigger guys to be like, well, if I could do it like this legally, then I can make that happen. And it's a give take. Like we're always learning from each other, whether you're up here on as far as like big distillery, or you're just a little guy with a 5-gallon pot in your kitchen. Like there's always something to learn from somebody else.
Absolutely. I learn things all the time.
So what was some of your earliest distilling? What did you learn on? Did you learn at home? Did you have a little pot at home that you used?
No, honestly, no. I was very good. Back then, like I said, it wasn't as open as it is now. And like I said, there weren't as many stills available, and still kind of concerned. And then I didn't want to run into any legal issues with trying to get a license.
Right.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah,
so
getting busted definitely doesn't look good when you're trying to go legal. So.
Right. That'd be the worst time.
Yeah.
So no, but like I said, Sherman Owen is actually who really came down and really worked with me a lot, and he was kind of big in the moonshine world about 15 years ago, but then he kind of dropped out. He's just kind of a savant. He really is. He doesn't ever forget anything he reads. He's one of those people, and had a fascinating life. And I was really honored to have him help me. And the first thing that we distilled together was actually a corn whiskey, white corn, and tells you how green I was. We had the distillery, and I planted white corn because I wanted an heirloom corn. So I was back in 2011. We were doing heirloom grain, and
Nice.
Then it came time to harvest the corn. I was like, okay, well, we'll just go get the corn, and whatever. So then the guy who got it is like, well, where are you going to dry it? And I'm like, what?
I ain't trying it. I'm cobbing all. I'm doing all of it. I don't care. Like I ain't trying nothing.
I didn't think that far ahead. Yeah. What do you mean? Try it? What do you mean?
I'm not a farmer, you know. I wasn't.
We ain't trying this.
So I'm panicked because he's like, well, you got to get that out there, you know, the next day, or, you know, you can't let that sit and heat up or whatever. So I'm panicked. And that's a good thing about a small town too. Everybody, you know, chips in to help and, you know, comes out and helps when they can. But nobody had any dryer space. Nobody, because it was, you know, prime harvest time.
Oh, yeah.
But I did have a friend who had a huge warehouse, empty warehouse, concrete floor. So we spread that corn out on the floor, and I was over there twice a day with a shovel, you know, scoop, you know, turning the corn around and raking it around, drying it. And that I tell you what, that was delicious corn. I mean, it tasted like corn nuts. It was still sweet and everything when it dried. We haven't gotten that kind of corn again, you know, in mechanically dried or, you know, force dried.
So the concrete floor was the secret.
That drying, you know, that just the slow drying like that was great.
Just curious, how much longer did that take to dry that way? Did it take quite a while to dry it like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's been a while now, but it was a long, you know, when you're out there every day, you know, turning it over.
Right.
A lot longer than it was. But well, that, you know, that was in the fall. We distilled it in December, so I don't, you know, but it was you know, couple months, 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks.
Wow. So that was, what'd you say, 2011? So you were dealing with heirloom corns way back then. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because I had, you know, I've been looking into opening a distillery since I was in college, which was a long time ago too. But it was after Prohibition, but it was a long time ago.
Pretty close.
But and I had read an article, and it may have been Mary Dowling, I don't know, but it was a woman, and she was talking about how whiskey didn't have any flavor anymore. And this was like the 1940s, you know. She's like, oh, that just doesn't have any flavor anymore. But she said, but your cornbread don't have any flavor either. She said, they done take all the flavor out of the corn. And I was like, well, you know, because I have a horticultural background as well. And I was like, I know that they bred corn, you know, for a lot of things, you know, but number 2 dent corn was bred for a lot of things, but flavor wasn't one of them. So I wanted to use a more flavorful corn. So we used Trucker's Favorite and Boone County White. We alternated depending on what seed was available, you know, the first few years. So
nice.
Got to use what you got, you know. Like that's the way it goes sometimes. So you're in Lebanon, Kentucky, correct?
Yes.
Yep, down in Lebanon, Kentucky. That's like we're gonna have to spend a month of just drunk debauchery, touring all these distilleries that we've had on the show, just in Kentucky and Indiana, and I mean Uncle Joe is built for it. So let's get it. I'll shove him in the back seat, give him a 2-foot area, and be like, "You're riding 6 hours next to Big Easy. Let's get it." So
let's go.
It's
I can't even keep track of the distilleries anymore, you know, in Kentucky. I used to know everybody. I used to know most everybody in the craft distilling world, and then that got away from me, and then you know, Kentucky got away too. It's just been
there's definitely been a bourbon boom, and you know, a lot of it I think is just social media. You have all these giant bourbon groups, so they're bringing awareness to great bourbon. You know, not just, hey, I got some people over here. Like you go on TikTok, there's a whole genre of TikTok called Bourbon Talk, just like we have a genre called Shine Talk, and it is just hundreds and thousands of people with giant bourbon collections of just fantastic bourbon. They just sit around and talk about it, and you know, and I think that boom also coincided with the moonshine boom because you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's all just fed off each other and brought us to where we are. You said there's such an explosion of craft distilleries now. We're waiting to be allowed to have an explosion of craft distilleries up here, but like you see it. There's just so many more craft distilleries, and it's really awesome to see that distilleries are starting to catch up with all those craft breweries that came out, which is pumping hops down everybody's face. Like,
Right.
we want liquor.
Right.
We want liquor. You know what I'm saying?
I think that this is. Whoop, I got my dog here. What do you want?
Most important man in the room. You take care of him.
Yep, absolutely.
But I think this is probably one of the best times for the bourbon to drink bourbon since before Prohibition, because of all the different distilleries. Because back when we started, you had this 6 big distilleries. You had a lot of brands, but they were all being pumped out of 6 big distilleries.
Yeah.
So even if they tried to change them up a little bit, it's still those footprints of those 6 distilleries.
Right.
Where now, and you have the creativity of people who crossed over from moonshine and just a lot of different things. The craft distillers aren't as well. They can, like me. When I can do 5 or 10 barrels of something easily, and now we have 600-gallon mash tub, and 1,200-gallon still, so I can do a 1,200-gallon mash run and not upset a whole lot, But if you're a big distillery with 20 or 30,000 gallon fermenters and things, it's a lot harder to experiment with.
Now, speaking of that, do you keep mash pretty much on a steady basis, or do you run certain months out of the year? Do you guys constantly ferment and run, or? We
constantly run.
Oh yeah.
24 hours a day.
Awesome.
And that is a key with the distillery. I say it's like breathing, or it's just, if you very steady, and you have that, you get that in sync. When everything's running in sync, you can pump out a lot of liquor.
And
but
that's why I see these bottles all over the place right there. Yeah.
But you start stopping and starting, or something stalls out and you miss it can really mess things up. And we do, summers used to be very frustrating, but we did add, a controlled cooling system, which made a huge difference for us. But
I'm sure your employees are happy.
Yeah, it's not for the employees, it's for the mash.
Thank that mash every time you walk.
We got air conditioning, but not for you guys. Yeah, the air ain't for y'all. The air's for the mash.
You gotta take care. Who takes care of you? You know what I'm saying?
We have priorities,
That's right. That's right.
So we have great employees, and Eric, who does really day-to-day, everything day-to-day now. Eric does down at the distillery. And I trained him 11 years ago, and, he's still doing it every day. And I take my hat off to him, because I do get bored doing the same thing every day. And, that's when you have a product like what you're showing, the Yellowstone Select, and you have it in everywhere, and you want to make sure it's the same every time.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same thing, trying to keep that same way every time. It's amazing how consistent the distillery is, but at the same time, you need to, to keep on the mark. I like to be trying different grain, different. I like different things, so I like to try fermenting different things. I've made some brandy. I actually made brandy for Tim Smith back in the day.
Yeah, see, I remember seeing I remember seeing you on early episodes of Moonshiners when I believe you were the first legal still that Tim walked into and tried to get his footing. So if you don't remember, go all the way back. It was probably 2014 or 15 or something like that.
Season 3.
Okay, so around 14. I believe they started in 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, go. Real intriguing. It was real intriguing to see the interaction of somebody who ain't have a clue, except
He
bachelor.
wants to say hello.
Oh, most important man in the room.
He doesn't
He's
like
beautiful.
He doesn't like to be left out.
Gotta include
He
him.
ain't left out. Hey, if you want to get up and give him your seat, we'll definitely interview him.
Oh, yeah.
So, we will not skip a beat on that.
So
I would like to hear more about your Yellowstone whiskey. If you don't
Yes.
mind telling us about the mash build, what type anything that you would like to share about it, we would definitely love to hear about it.
Right.
Because, like I said, we get to
Yellowstone.
go buy it.
Talk a little bit about the brand. So, everybody knows the name Beam. My last name Beam, but my mother
Never
was
heard of
actually my mother's family were actually Dance, and the Dance family was a big distilling family up until and just right after Prohibition. Probably as important as the Beams. Actually, I know they had more money than the Beams, but anyway. But they had distilleries. J.W. Dant had a distillery, and his oldest son started a distillery named Cold Spring, and he had that distillery. And when Yellowstone Park opened up, they had a salesperson who'd been traveling around, and he came back and he's like, "Oh, there's this big buzz around about the new national park that they're opening up in out west, and if we were to name a bourbon Yellowstone, we'd sell a lot of whiskey." So, not to miss the opportunity, they branded the bourbon Yellowstone, and it quickly became their number one selling bourbon. So, and has been on the shelf continuously since 1872. The second oldest continuous brand in the country. So we didn't go away during Prohibition. You could get a prescription for Yellowstone.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And it was always in my house as well, because it touched both sides of the family. The Beams were distillers there, and the Dance owned the distillery. My grandfather worked at Yellowstone as a distiller. His brother-in-law, my grandmother and her sister, one married a Beam, one married a Dance, so they became brother-in-laws. So it was Yellowstone was just kind of always around my house, always.
That's a very deep lineage on both sides. Like
Absolutely.
we're in the presence of alcohol royalty. In case you didn't know.
Well, yeah.
Recognize.
Let's be honest. Those two names are some of the. Yeah, you're right. That's where it all began, in a sense. Absolutely.
And it goes all the way. And they fought through. After Prohibition, it was all about gin, and then old Rudolph Connect come over and started the vodka, which failed, and George C. Martin came in and really brought vodka to the forefront with his Moscow Mules, and that's what really vodka was everywhere. Vodka dominated after gin so hard for so long, so it was really nice to see something that takes a little more passion. Not just it's flavorless. Let's add flavor to it. So it's real nice that they fought hard and they stayed true throughout the years and fought off the gin craze and the vodka craze, and now we're living in the bourbon moonshine craze. So it's definitely a great time to be alive for us.
Well, I think that bourbon really shot themselves in the foot, like in the 70s, 80s, probably 80s, because everybody was drinking vodka, and they're like, how can we make this stuff lighter or whatever? Then they started blending stuff and, and they really got away from quality, real quality bourbon. I mean, there were still some made, but a lot of them started trying to compete with vodka, and
they start panicking, saying you're losing money. You're panicking. You're seeing, they're just taking clear alcohol and adding flavor to it. And so it's just like, how can we do that? How can we make money off of that? And now you see flavored bourbons that, like you walk into these distilleries and they have flavored bourbons on the sell, and they're selling more of those than just their straight aged bourbon, just because they're, it doesn't take much of an acquired palate to like something sweet. It takes a lot more acquired palate to enjoy a nice clear brandy, to pick up the notes that are there that they put in, or to taste the charness of the wood and the vanillas and the leathers, or if you like an old shoe, whatever you like, there's something for you. So, it's definitely a much smaller select market. And just like, every distillery, they sell 1 million flavored apple pie jars to every jar 100 proof. It's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah. And it's got, you get those different, because you get a real earthiness if you get it from, closer to the floor in the rick house. I know MVP has, those brick warehouses, and some of them are down low, and you get
Can you elaborate a little bit more? Because nobody's ever said anything about where the barrels are located in the place and affecting the taste. So I'm real intrigued to hear you speak on that, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I just know what I like, but I do know that when you get down closer to the bottom ricks, that it picks up that earthiness, and it comes across very distinctively. As a matter of fact, I was told that Jimmy Russell would not use the bottom 3 ricks of the rick house. Of course, when rick house space got scarce and everything, they did, but for the longest time he didn't use the last 3 ricks of the rick house, because he didn't like that. Now, other people I know one, I won't say her name, but anyway, a well-known distiller, and she really likes that earthiness, and I like some of it. I don't like a flat bourbon. I like there to be dimension to it.
Absolutely.
And actually, I like a little bit of a bite too. So our 2018 limited edition was so soft and easy to drink, but 2017 had just a little bit of a bite to it, and I like that little bit of a bite so much better. But a lot of people like that 18 because it was just,
softer on the palate.
Soft.
Well, I think
it was like, easy.
I saw an interview. You were doing a tasting somewhere, and you were doing your 107, and it sounds like you're like myself. That 107 is a nice point. And it said that you probably are. Is that more of your daily drinker, the 107?
Yeah, usually right around 100, 107, 100 to 107. But 107, I think, is a great proof. I think you get much higher than that, you just get more of a burn. Although I've drink some higher proof stuff, but 107, 110, 105. We have our limited edition this year's 105.
Nice.
That's a really good sipping proof for me.
I'm excited to find that bottle. I haven't found that one yet.
The limited edition hasn't come out yet. We're still.
Wow.
It should be. We should be dumping the barrels very soon.
I haven't found the 107 either. I'm looking for the small batch as well.
And that should be everywhere. You should be able to get that. So
they probably sold out at my liquor store. So I'll look.
Yeah.
I'll look. I'm not too far from Dayton. I can do some traveling and look around.
Right, and I'm sure Ohio has it.
Oh yeah, we have it.
Yeah, we're fortunate. The liquor control board up there, likes what we do, and so they're very supportive. And but yeah, check it out, because that's a great. I think that will become our new flagship, down the road, just because it's such a great whiskey.
I'm a small batch fan myself, so I'm sure enjoy every bit of it. And that's what's kind of cool. You said you guys are like more of a small batch distillery,
right? Well, we are, but at the same time,
in large quantities, yes.
We make about 3,000 barrels a year now. We used to, when we started, it was a barrel a week. Then it was a barrel a day, and then a couple barrels a day, and then now we do 3,000-ish barrels a year.
Wow.
But that's still enough to not enough to, go across the country. So we do blend with our partner with Lux Row. So we do blend with some from Lux Row as well. We don't use MGP because we stay with Kentucky distillate.
Nice.
Just make sure everything stays in state. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now the limited edition 2025 limited edition that's coming out. That is the first time I've blended. We have a collaboration with MGP and us because we were acquired. But 2020 MGP acquired Luxco and the Limestone Branch and all that at the same time. So
now you just have more barrels to pick from, correct?
Yeah. But we don't use a lot of Indiana barrels, so that is it limits me that way. We've always used the MGP rye in our minor case rye. We've always used that, but we were able to go from 2 to 4 years when we partnered with them.
I was going to ask you, what's the age on the Yellowstone, the Select?
It is a blend of 4 and 7 year old.
4 and 7, nice.
Yeah.
Now, is that 2 different mash bills that you blend together, or
no? Same mash bill.
Same mash bill. What type of corn are you using in that?
We use number 2 dent now.
Nice.
So if you get some of our probably up until about 2018, it was white corn. 2019. Okay. So, and then we switched over to yellow.
Now, do you have a farmer that you use close to the distillery, or do you source it in from somewhere else? Or
we did. Now it's all the grain is sourced by MGP.
Oh, nice.
Right. So we get it's all Midwestern grain. The malt was all U.S. upper Midwest. And then it ended up with some Canadian, and then just recently there was some from Europe. Now with all the tariffs and things, I don't know where things have come from.
Wherever they can cheaply.
Right.
Yeah, some of these farmers, they may find themselves back in business, so to speak.
Right. So but there's a limited area now that you can grow barley in the United States, so that's an issue as well. But right. Our mash bill is 75% corn, 13 rye, and 12 malt, which comes directly out of my grandfather's notes, and that was what the Yellowstone mash bill was back in the day. We do a wheated that was 60%. What is it? Golly, this is a senior moment.
I can relate.
You had me at wheat. You had me at wheat. So once you hit the wheat, I'm good. Hand it over.
Yeah,
so.
It's 28% wheat, 12% malt, and 60% corn. So that's our wheated bourbon.
Nice. That sounds real nice.
Right.
And that came off of one of Mike Damp's notes back in his daily notes. He had that mash bill written down. So I thought I'd give it a try. And I don't know if you'd ever been to the distillery when we had the experimental 15-gallon barrels in the container. But I started out with those in the 15 gallons, and then we went to 53 gallons with it because it turned out really nice.
So you make, is it 3 products? You do a gin?
We do a gin. That was kind of that was kind of funny how that ended up, because most people start out with a gin while their bourbon's waiting. But we start out with the bourbons, and then, as a distiller, you have a lot of time. You clean a lot, but once it gets in the still, you have a good amount of time to do things. So I started experimenting around with botanicals just things that were grown around that collected off out of the site. So things like blackberries and mulberries, honeysuckle, wild black cherry, different things like that, and distilling them, not fermenting, but distilling, and that is how the gin evolved out of that. So we were a latecomer to gin, but it was kind of just a passion project, kind of fun that came out of experimenting and filling time and having fun.
Now, is that gin a family recipe, or is it something that you came up with?
It's something that I came up with. Yeah. I don't think anybody in the family ever made gin that I know of. They made brandy. Now I know they made brandy, but no, they didn't make gin.
They probably made some bathtub gin along the way back in the day. I think everybody did at one point in time.
Yeah, maybe, but they were pretty hardcore bourbon people, or whiskey people,
So you say brandies. Do you enjoy drinking brandies yourself?
I do. I don't drink
clear or
often,
aged?
but I do.
Clear or aged?
I haven't really drank a lot of clear since I made the clear for Tim back in the day, but I think I'd like the essence of clear, because not unlike tequila, I had a bad run-in with Jose back in college.
College? High school, might have been middle school here. Like,
who hasn't?
Everybody's had
kind
a
of a
bad
common
run-in with
story
Jose.
here.
You got a lot of people like, I hate tequila. And it's like you got really hammered off Jose one night, right? Like, go drink some good high-end tequila. Go get you a nice Cabo or just something real nice.
Even to this day, the smell of a gold tequila.
Dirty sweat socks.
I'm a clear tequila guy all the way, man.
It was
like the gold.
20 or 30 years before I could even smell tequila.
That's me with gin. Gin hurt me when I was 15, and I'm just like, I just don't like gin, man. Gin's not my thing, man. Like the best gin I've tried though, it was Old Spizak's gin that Sean brought me. I didn't.
Oh yeah.
I didn't much hate that one. It was pretty good. So
you should give ours a try.
I will. I'll definitely try it.
You're not going to get that pine sol that
that's
what
you get a lot. That the junipers in them.
Right.
Oh man, they're so overpowering. And
was that your goal to make a gin that wasn't a gin, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like your traditional,
make one worth drinking.
I wanted to make a gin that I like to drink.
Absolutely.
And I'm not a big fan of the juniper. So we did it's over 50% juniper in the herbal combination. But the way we distill it and things, the gin doesn't juniper doesn't. It's not heavy juniper. It's actually more floral and citrus forward, which I think most American gins tend to be.
Tom's gin is very citrusy, very lemon and very lime. It's very zesty.
Right.
So
that's me, man. You take that, like the less juniper, the better for me. But and some people like it. It's all about your flavor palate, what you like, and
right.
I don't like it, man. I just don't like that heavy juniper. I don't like black licorice. I don't like nothing like that, man. So
and some of the cocktails with gin, you kind of need that juniper,
right?
To make that the gin cocktail to come alive the way that was intended as well. But no, going back to tequila and the brandy, but tequila, I kind of edged back into tequila in the añejo, an extra añejo, and then I was hanging out with our companion distillery in Jalisco, Grace Gonzalez, the master distiller for there, and she drank Blanco, and I was like, well, if you're drinking Blanco, I think I need to be drinking Blanco. So I tried it. and it wasn't anything like those bad memories.
Right.
So I really drink, I drink Blanco now, the tequila Blanco. I really like that agave, and it's same thing with the brandy. I think, just like the essence of where it's coming from.
And you can respect the fact when somebody hands you a jar and you crack it open and it smells like it should and it tastes like it should, knowing damn well there's nothing in that jar. Like everything in that jar was magic done by the distiller. And then, every now and then you get somebody that hands you a jar and it's post flavored and they lie to you, and that's just bullshit. But that's a different show. But like I said, when you get a nice jar and you crack it open and you can appreciate the work that went into getting that nose in there, because we put the nose in there, we trick the palate to taste the sweetness that's not really there. So it's definitely something you can appreciate when somebody hands you a fine jar of brandy, whiskey, corn liquor. Doesn't matter what it is. Like you can appreciate it because you know what it takes to make that jar smell and taste like bananas, even though there's not a banana within 100 feet of that jar.
Right. Yeah. I think it's important to, respect with the way the grain is and to use that as a component. I think for the longest time, distilleries just used the corn as a vehicle to make alcohol. They didn't really care about the flavor of the corn or anything like that. It was just, let's make the alcohol and then we'll get the barrel to make, put the flavors into it.
And that's where the heirloom corns are, man. The heirloom corns have a lot of flavor. That blue corn is amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And your reds are high in the oils, which really age really well. Like the discovery of the heirloom corn for the home distiller has really changed the game for them. Being able to get just whatever you want. It's at your fingertips now. There's so many people selling it, and if they ain't got it, they'll point you in the right direction. And you're seeing more farmers growing heirloom corns. We need more of y'all to grow 6-row barley. There's not enough of y'all growing 6-row barley. I know 2 rows where the money is, but just give us a little acre of 6-row, man. We'd be happy. It's the hardest thing to find for the farmers is 6-row. So
well, so ours is a blend of 2 and 6.
Nice.
So
okay. Now you guys have a family still, don't you, in your distillery?
we have the still that we have the still that we started with, which is our Portugal.
Okay.
That came from Portugal, but no, we don't. We don't have one that had been from the family.
Okay.
Actually, the one I think Joe, my grandfather's uncle who went to Mexico, I think that still's at Vendome, on display at Vendome. But a lot of them were destroyed, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they came across them, man, they put a hurting on them.
Yeah.
So being that your grandfather was in the making liquor business, did you spend any time at distilleries growing up? I mean, was that part of anything that you did growing up, in and out at all?
I went around to old distillery sites, but not any that were active, actually. But my mother took me around to all the different distilleries where they were, told me about them. I did a lot of fishing in distillery lakes, but and then I went with my uncle a couple times. He was very good friends with Booker No, so we went over to the Jim Beam. Actually, it was if you know anything about Bardstown, it was Toddy, the original Toddy's Liquor. My uncle Toddy owned that up until the 80s, I guess, and then Guthrie McCabe bought it. So, and I think Guthrie just sold it, from what I hear.
So did I hear you say Booker was your uncle? Is that how that?
But Booker was a very good friend of my uncle's.
Ah.
They were like best. My uncle was his best man. So that tells you where they were at.
Hell yeah. Well, your family definitely has some deep rooted history in the bourbon world, both sides. It's there's so many brands and labels out there that are tied back to your family, even to this day.
Yeah, 68 at one point. I don't know what it is now. Different brands. So and
That's crazy.
Wow.
and the beam, the beam name. Everybody knows, Jim Beam and my cousins, but actually Minor Case and his brother Joe, after Prohibition, are the ones who really set the stories back on track.
Yep.
Joe had 7 sons. They were all master distillers, and they went around and got people back open again. Things, Four Roses, Heaven Hill.
I was gonna say, I think doesn't Heaven Hill have a Seven Brothers bottle, I believe. And
Yeah,
I think
well, that's their brothers, I think. But
yeah,
Joe was the original distiller there at Heaven Hill. My grandfather was there as well, and Joe's son. And Heaven Hill, Maker's Mark, Four Roses, Stitzelweller. They were at Yellowstone.
yeah.
They Michner's up in Pennsylvania. So
That's why I was.
yeah.
Yeah, this is we've definitely got bourbon royalty on the podcast tonight. That's for sure. You definitely you definitely have some roots in the game. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's a letter from Pappy Van Winkle when they called him Uncle Joe, but Joe Beam, Minor Case, my great grandfather's brother, when he died, Pappy Van Winkle wrote a letter to the family, talking about what a great distiller he was and how appreciative he was that he helped them get going back up and going after Prohibition. And there was a line in there that I just love, and it is that except for that first batch, we made great whiskey. So I always wondered what happened with their first batch.
It's what happened with everybody's first batch. You know what the hell you was doing.
Yeah.
You thought it was good until later on you realize, that first batch wasn't no good.
Yeah, well, you got
learning experience. The first one's always a learning experience.
You got to learn the still, right? Yeah.
That's right.
So, what does the future hold for Stephen Beam? Are you going to continue to travel, or I heard you say you'd like to do some experimentation? You got anything?
Well, I do. I do
in the
all
works? Yeah.
I do all the new product development. So, in any of the limited editions, I'm drinking our Toasted now, which I did, developed a couple of years ago.
Nice.
Tomorrow, actually, I'm leaving at 6:00 in the morning to go to New York. And we're launching our ready to pour. You were talking about, the apple pie, but the ready to pour cocktails. So we have an espresso cocktail, a blood orange old fashioned, and a gold rush. So really nice. They're in aluminum bottles. It's a great package and a great product. So, and that's all rolling out now. So
when will we see those on the shelves? When will that go? Is that, when is that?
They should be rolling out anytime if they're not already. So
awesome.
Yeah, anytime. And they're very good. I was particular, I like if those things are going to be out there, I want them to be right. I know.
Right. Well, you don't want to. You want to stand behind a good quality product, and you've got deep history. Well, you've got deep history, so a man like yourself with deep history, you don't want to just drop anything on the market. So,
and your personal pride
RTDs
says, man,
are big,
like I'm not going to hand somebody a jar I wouldn't enjoy myself. Doesn't matter if you're it doesn't matter what level it is. Like we all got some pride, and we got pride.
Yeah,
And over the years, I've experimented with some of the ready-to-drink products, and I'm not a big Jack Daniel's fan, but I can say that over the years, they've made a couple ready-to-drink cocktails that are pretty solid, and it's that Lynchburg lemonade and a couple of the other ones that they've done. So, You know,
Right.
it's hard. It's hard to make a good product ready to drink that's a solid product. So I hope all
Right.
goes. I hope goes well with you, and I'm sure if it's on the shelf, and it sounds like from you that you put a good product out. Like
Yeah,
you're very
it's
particular.
very good. You know, back in the day, we did the moonshine. That was our very first. Well, we did our apple pies and other things that we did, and I did when I did my moonshine. We did it traditional. You know, we didn't do GNS and flavor whatever. The moon pie was GNS, but our traditional what we called sugar shine, it was the real deal.
Hell
And
yeah.
Royce Neely,
Royce
right?
Neely, yep.
Yeah. Well, he still says that my moonshine was one of the best. So I take that as and wear that. So there's some.
You and Royce, we've got Royce coming on, and you two are some of my favorite upcoming guests. So I'm excited to have him on as well. You two, a lot of people speak very highly of the both of you. So it's good to get you guys on.
Royce is great. He's the real deal, and doing the yeast and everything, and so I'm very impressed with Royce, Alan Bishop. They're up in Indiana. They're two of my favorites.
He makes some good
A lot
apple
of people
brandy
like
too.
them both. They seem to do. They do a lot of good things. Yeah, I want to go see Alan Bishop. That whole little lake thing he's got going on looks interesting.
Yeah, I haven't been to the new place where he's at in Spring Mill, I think.
I think so.
In Indiana. So. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a real nice place. Got a hotel and all kinds of stuff.
What you pouring there? You still pouring the Select?
Yeah, that's the toasted.
So is the toasted already been out? It's already on the shelves, or is that coming out?
Oh yeah, no, it's out.
See, my liquor stores suck. I got to go somewhere better because I've never seen a bottle of your toasted. I'm a big fan. Penelope has a good toasted, which I found out through later on that was MGP, which it's whatever. But
right.
Elijah Craig makes a really good toasted bottle.
Yeah. Well, I'll put our toasted up against anybody's. So.
Well, now you got me looking. I'll be looking for that one. So,
and that stemmed from our toasted. I did a toasted back in 2016, the limited edition. Back when only a few people were doing toasted. Yeah, I think Mickner's was doing a toasted and a couple other people. But anyway, and we did the toasted and actual toasted barrels. Now this one for the mass market is done with the toasted staves, because it's in every liquor store around the country as well. So we do the staves for economy and for efficiency, and to be able to do it. And but I was again very particular. I didn't want it to have that new wood. A lot of the toasted that are done with staves, you really taste that
oil.
Almost. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
And I did not want to. As a matter of fact, I was at a Stephen Fonte or brand ambassador. If you don't, you need to. But anyway,
listen, we would love to have him on. I tell you what, I'll reach out to him, talk to him. We would love to get him on.
Absolutely, he's if Foghorn Leghorn and P.T. Barnum had a baby, that'd be Stephen Fonte.
Oh, yeah, I met him down at the Beattyville Bourbon and Moonshine Festival a couple of years ago. He was there.
Yeah.
Say less. I will send him a message. Absolutely.
He's a character. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that one. But
so I got a quick question. Just so
sure.
You seem like I feel like you will know this answer. How many liquor stores are you in currently?
That I don't know.
Damn it! I thought you might know.
Have no clue, and it changes all the time. And we're in, every state for sure, and probably about 15 countries or so.
how did your trip to Korea go? Did you push any Yellowstone?
No, that was just although Yellowstone is there, but I couldn't. Yellowstone was there, but I couldn't connect with our distributor for whatever reason.
I
But
saw you found lots of Jack Daniels there.
yeah, Jack Daniels and Jim Beam. You can find that just about anywhere in the world. But it was. I like Korea. South Korea was very, is clean and organized, which I like, but people were reserved, friendly but very reserved, and the food was awesome. Food was fantastic, and it's a beautiful country. But I tell you what, I said I know why those little old Korean women live so long. It's like I felt like I was on a Stairmaster the whole time I was there. It is so hilly, and so many there's steps or a hill everywhere for anywhere you're going.
Austin said is Bishop with Old Homestead. No, I think he's with a new place, isn't he? Or is it still Old Homestead?
No, that's a new
Yeah,
one.
that's his new place. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's his new place.
He was with French Lick. Now his new joint's Old Homestead.
Right. But it's at Spring Mill, Indiana or something. Yeah, but it's Old Homestead.
So Austin talked about will you be at the Bourbon Fest coming up? Is that where you're going to be?
I will be, yes. And it's tough because the Beam reunion's that day, so I'm gonna have to miss the Beam reunion for the Bourbon Festival. I told my cousin, I said, "What are you doing, scheduling the Beam reunion on Bourbon Festival?" He said, "Well, they changed Bourbon Festival. We don't change the Beam reunion." So.
Right. I get that. I've not made it to that Bourbon Festival yet, but I need to do it. I actually have reservations at a hotel for Bourbon on the Banks in October.
All right.
I've not been to that. Is that a good time?
That is a great event, and you'll meet Stephen Fonte there because that is one of his favorite events, and he's always there.
I've got a hotel reserved, but I haven't bought my ticket yet because I wanted to get locked in case I decided to go, so I need to buy my ticket. So I will definitely maybe you can set up where me and him can sit down and talk maybe at that event or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a very good event.
Awesome.
You'll enjoy it. Then the Bourbon Festival is too. The Bourbon Festival. So years ago, it was open. There were a lot of booths there that didn't really relate to bourbon and things. And then they switched it. It is more bourbon focused now. And it kind of upset a lot of people in Bardstown because it became a more ticketed event, and more focused event. Where before it was just kind of like open, festival, and but a lot of it didn't relate to, bourbon as such. So now people who go are very serious about bourbon, and that's a good thing.
Next year, I've got a few of these festivals on my radar. Green River, the guy from Green River was telling us about their bourbon. Owensboro's got a barbecue and bourbon festival or something. I think next year we will definitely be at that one. And
Owensboro's known for their barbecue, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I'll say okay about the bourbon, but the barbecue for sure.
Hey, that Green River's not too bad. No. Honestly, though, they're another affordable within the wheelhouse bourbon. $40 is $40, man. That's a good price, man. And me, I'm a bourbon drinker, and I've got bottles here that I've paid way too much for, and that my wife already knows about, so I can say the prices. I've paid $200 for some bottles, and I've paid as little as $20 for some bottles. And the wide variety of bourbon is just amazing on what you get. You can get really good bourbon for under $40, and people don't think you can. There's a lot of bourbon snobs out there, but man, there's a lot of good bourbon out there.
Oh, you can. And honestly, I got an email today on some 7 or 8 year old barrels that were available from that they were trying to sell just on the open market, these barrels. And the price was crazy cheap. So the price has come down, it's 25% of what it was 5 years ago.
Well, I've heard some chat in some bourbon groups about how, unfortunately, some of these guys aren't going to make it. Some of these bourbon distilleries aren't going to make it over the next 5 years, and it's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of the business. Bourbon almost got too big. There are almost
it's
too
been the
many
nature of the
distilleries
business
out
always.
there.
It's always been kind of a sine curve, with
Yeah.
that. And if people get overextended or get out ahead of their skis, then it's difficult. I tell you where it's a very difficult place to be, and because I was there, and that is when we were about 7 states. And I turned to my brother and I was like, this is not working. We either need to get big or just get back to a couple of states, because it's expensive to maintain, that sales force, and that, it's very expensive in those states. And if you're in the middle, you get kind of crushed. It's very difficult. So, I think if somebody wants to be smaller and run a distillery, in contiguous states and things, that makes a lot of sense. Or if you're bigger, but boy, in that middle is difficult. And I think that's with any business, honestly.
Well, I know when you go to the bigger liquor stores, there's a lot of bourbon on the shelves. And even to this day, I'll walk in and I'll see bourbon that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of good ones out there, but there's almost too many out there.
Anytime there's a boom, man, the market's going to be flooded with, some subpar products, and it's up to the consumer to educate yourself and determine what you like and to spend your money wisely. It's no different than anything else. Buying a used car or anything, man. We're in the age to where there's so much information at our fingertips. There's no reason not to educate yourself.
Well, and it kind of follows over even with the legal moonshine industry now, because in the beginning there was only a couple legal moonshines on the shelf, and now there's so many, and now you go back to some of the early ones and they're not so good. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many. There's a lot of legal distillers out there that are putting clear on the shelves that are solid. Our friend Chris Lewis down at Pabst, that is delicious moonshine. I mean, that's the closest. That's probably the closest that anybody can get legally to moonshine.
Yeah. Right.
So,
I tell you what, I found the bottle of our Sugar Shine the other day, and I tried it, and I was like, and it was I know why Royce said it was good, because it was very good. I forgot how good it was, honestly.
That's because you put love in that bottle. You put heart. You put heart in that what you were doing.
Yeah, and that was the old Sugar Shine recipe where we didn't cook the mash.
Yeah, cold mash.
We did. We poured boiling water over corn with sugar, and the alcohol was all made from the sugar. Corn gave it, nutrients for the yeast and a little bit of flavor, but not a tremendous amount of that corn flavor. And then we used that corn 3 or 4 times.
Sour mash it. Over time, some of the starches would convert. And each run, you'd pull more flavor with it. And it was. We all started with little Uncle Jesse style. No matter how we twerked it, that's the old Uncle Jesse style. Just tried and true, man. And it's definitely a way. If you can hone your craft to making that into a solid liquor, man, the next process of converting grains, using fruits, all that's easier on you. So it's it is.
Yeah.
I always suggest, just get you some corn, sugar, water, and yeast, man. Get started. You'll be glad. Just get started. Yep, just get started.
Yeah. So. And actually, 3 or 4. I think we even went a little bit more than that with the corn. When you get into those later runs, you are pulling out more flavor and things.
You are. It gets sour, especially if you're reusing some of the back set.
Yeah.
It just, they get sour, man. And then it gets to a point where it's so sour, it's almost sweet.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it changes. It's every generation of sour mash that you go back and read, it just changes so much. You just got to get through the first couple, and then they really start to change, so.
But boy, that working with that much sugar was a pain in the ass. That sticky stuff everywhere.
Everywhere, man. No matter where you spilled it, where it splashed, everything's just sticky.
Yeah, I like working with the grain now. So, but that is where I started. Like I said, I started right with the in the moonshine. I came out of the moonshine.
That's where we start, man. It's the base, It's the base.
What I think is cool too. I think what's going on. I think you got a lot of guys that enjoy drinking bourbon, and they realize they can put it in, make the mash themselves, and then age it themselves and try to reproduce what they enjoy drinking. And I know being at the Hillbilly Jam over the weekend, I know I tasted some really good aged liquor that a lot of guys were handing me. And that seems to be a lot of these moonshiners, a lot of them, you got your flavored, you got your lady drinks, as we like to call them.
Right.
But there's a lot of guys out there that want to replicate a lot of these bottles they can buy on the shelf.
Right.
They want to be able to make what a guy like yourself is putting out. And that's respect. That's a lot of respect, man. A lot of guys want to reproduce what your family's doing.
Well, I appreciate it, but I will say one thing: everybody ought to do their thing.
Yep.
You don't have to try to do your thing and do it the best you can, and it'll be right.
That's what I always tell everybody: whatever you do, you own it.
Yep. And that's it's funny you say that, because like I do a little home distilling myself, and I just discovered oats, and I really like the mouthfeel that I get from oats.
I love oats, yeah.
And I feel like moving forward in my distillation, I'm going to use oats a lot more. So it's neat learning new things and discovering new things, and I'm excited about a lot of the adventures that I'm going to go on. Just the learning process.
Absolutely. The oats may have a great mouthfeel to the product.
Yeah. Just remember with those oats, Uncle Joe, you only need about 1 inch of headspace in that fermenter. All right. You don't need a whole lot of headspace with that. About an inch will do you real fine.
So I'll tell you
banana.
So I'll tell you a little something about these guys that I call my friends.
All right, I'm out of here.
They may or may not always give you the best information when it comes to. These guys are good guys, man. If you've ever jump on YouTube, jump on and check out Philbilly sometime. Him and Big Easy make some really good recipes, and they're great home distillers themselves, man, by all rights. And they give somebody like you, that's what these guys are trying to achieve. You know what I mean? Like at the end result, we're trying to do what you're doing on the big scale.
Right. Well, like I said, just stay authentic and use quality ingredients and don't cut on time. And that's one thing you learn. There's no substitute for time.
That's right, especially when it comes to aging, letting your mash clarify.
100%.
Just be patient, man. Hell, I just did bananas, dude, and it was a 3-month process of just racking and clarifying and straining and racking and clarifying until it was to the quality that you wanted to run. You know what I'm saying? Everything's a little different, and you'll know when it's right, no matter how much work you got to put in. You'll know when it's right, man. So
right.
Yeah, we've got a farmer in our area, Vaughn Davis, and he grows a lot of the heirloom corns. Mm-hmm. So we're fortunate that we have somebody like that we can reach out to.
We're spoiled. We're ingredient spoiled in this region.
Yeah, we are very spoiled. We really are.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, Ron McDonald.
Yeah,
from Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
Star. Yep. Old
yeah,
McDonald.
He does. Yeah.
He does a lot of heirloom corns that Vaughn doesn't do, like Jimmy Reds and
he does that Rosenrada too.
Yeah, he does 6-row and like I said, he's a master at his craft, man. It's amazing that the different types of people that you meet, and doesn't matter what they do, they're an artist in their own right. Like that's like he's a a corn magician. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you get people like, oh, well, you know, like that dude's a bourbon savant, and like, oh, that's the clear liquor guy over there. And you know, it's amazing all the different people we get to meet in this. So, and like I said, I wouldn't trade this for anything. And yeah, so it's a great time. So we enjoy doing this because we get to meet people like you. We get to hang out with people like Sean. And you know, we get to befriend people like Uncle Joey and Matt Lemasters. His wife is cook, so that's why we keep him around. That's that tomato pie boy. But he said, we've kept you on here long enough. We know you got to get up early and head to New York. You got them RTDs, man. Hopefully they make them here because I like to try them. And
oh yeah.
Well, they're being released. They were released. Throughout. I know a few like Publix had a few people had them a few weeks before everybody else did, but they should be going out to everybody now.
We'll be on the look for them for sure. And
oh, absolutely.
I guess I'm gonna have to give me a bottle of that Yellowstone Uncle Joey's touting over there because she ain't gonna share it.
No, I'll bring it. Listen,
it probably went the way of Sean's peanut butter and peach brandy.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, find that small batch, the 6-year-old small batch, 107.
I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna look for it.
That's right where it's at too. So
nice.
And I tell you, are you at the distillery much? Do you spend much time there anymore? Because
I'm in and out. I don't spend much. I'm there in and out, and Eric is the day-to-day guy there.
Well, I'm almost positive that I know a guy that has some brandy that he would probably like to share with you.
I would love to share it with you.
Yeah, no. So
I'll share it with anybody. Anybody wants to try it.
Well, once we know we can try to make a trip down your way, I'll kind of reach out to you, and even if it's not at the distillery, maybe we can meet up with you somewhere. I'm pretty sure Big Easy would probably like to hand you a couple jars. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Clear distillate.
Clear distillate.
There you go.
Again, thank you so much, Steve. Man, we really appreciate you being on here with us.
No, the honor's mine. I appreciate it. I always amazed that people even want to hear me talk. But
oh man,
I'm glad to
we're honored.
Come on at any time, and it's been great.
You said anytime we can get a busy man schedule, and we love hearing you speak, man. So in the future, we're going to want you to come back on because
please come back on.
After the show, we'll sit around and be like, man, I should have asked this, I should have asked that. You know how it is. Like, I want to, because like I'll go like tomorrow morning, I'll listen to the show again, and then think about things, and it's like, man. So we'll definitely have you on again. He said, "Good luck. Keep doing what you're doing." And you need to
reach out to Fonte too, because he's a character.
I'll reach out. I will definitely reach out and get him scheduled.
Uncle Joey will drop the Beam name now, so he's got a little public sense up there with more. So, anyways, man, we love all y'all. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We're on iHeartRadio now. Check us out. Y'all take care. You have a great night. Everybody shine on.
Thank you.